Now that's how you welcome a global superstar. And Victor Osimhen is a global superstar. Yes, indeed. 3 a.m. The Galatasaray fans were out in their numbers waiting to herald the coming of already the person they regard as the best footballer in Turkey. Nigerians will love our players. Nigerians will love our players. Yes, indeed. 3 a.m. in the morning, just like how ESPN reported it, Galatasaray fans were out in their numbers to welcome Victor Osimhen. And the deal has been concluded. It's a dry loan deal. A dry loan deal means that Galatasaray will cover his 11 million euro salary and without an option to buy. It's a season-long loan, which means that Napoli will not incur the wage bill of Victor Osimhen for this season, which is very important for Victor Osimhen, because Victor Osimhen was quite specific in naming some of the in mentioning some of the clauses before this deal went through. And one of the reasons for this being that there was this narrative being thrown about, especially from European club sides or European media, and of course coming in from Napoli, that Victor Osimhen was frozen out. No, that was not the deal. It was more at a disadvantage for Napoli, because the Napoli right now has been able to remove that huge wage bill of Victor Osimhen, because Victor Osimhen had been there. It would have been a bone in their throat. Remember, Victor Osimhen, according to the director of football of Napoli, said and insisted that he would never play for Napoli again. So he was actually in control of the situation. He wasn't the one that was being frozen out. Napoli had a bone in their throat that they actually really needed to push out. And Victor Osimhen was ready to sit down on it for that season to get what he wants. And that is pure business. He wasn't at a disadvantage. It was a posture. He needed to insist. And that's what he did, because it was really important that Victor Osimhen succeeds, because it will break the glass ceiling for other African footballers, other Nigerian footballers coming in. Napoli were not truthful. Remember, with the deal was already going on with Al Ahly, and they shifted the goalpost. And that's why Victor Osimhen got angry and said that he would never play for them again. And since he would not play for them again and sit down there, Napoli will still pay his bills. And if you have been following our last video, I told you that Napoli had already incurred debts. They had already spent the Osimhen money. And carrying the Osimhen wage bill would have been a huge one. Really probably crippled them financially. So this deal had to go. This deal had to take place. So it wasn't a matter of Osimhen was frozen out. It was, could Napoli carry the wage bill? And that's why one of the major things there was that Galatasaray carried, or were the ones that would take the 11 million euros a season deal. And Osimhen showed love. And Osimhen showed a whole lot of love for that with the great welcome he got, already pledging himself to Galatasaray. But some compromises, clauses, and agreement that had to be put in place before this deal went through. Osimhen had his own clauses that insisted on some things being put in there. Napoli, before agreement, also insisted that there were one or two things being put in there. Now it's for you to judge who had the better deal. But for me, I think there's just one little chink in those compromises and clauses that I probably will not agree with. But hey, Napoli also needed to protect themselves. And that clause is that before the deal was signed and agreed to, Osimhen had to sign an extension with Napoli to June 2027. Napoli will retain an option to automatically extend to June 2027 if his agents fail to sell the player by June 2025, which means Napoli wanted to still control the options and keep him. If you remember what I said, in his last contract, Osimhen's contract ends in 2026. If he gets back in 2025, that means he has 1 year on his contract. Napoli would not be at a strong position to negotiate or get any good thing from them. So Napoli said that if Osimhen is not sold by 2025 June, then means that Osimhen has signed an extension to stay with Napoli for till June 2027. Well, that's the part I really don't like, because I just want him out and totally out of Napoli. Now, apart from that, Osimhen also, the Osimhen camp specifically asked for some things to be included in that clause before he agreed. Now, this is somebody who is in control. I told you that this young man and his team was sitting at the advantage. Remember what I said? If he stayed, it would be a bone in the throat of Napoli because they had a wage bill that was incredible. So Osimhen specifically put some clauses there. Number one, he was very specific in a break clause with Galatasaray in January, when the January transfer window opened, if one of 10 named clubs come in for him. Osimhen was specific in the 10 named clubs, in 10 clubs that might come from him in January. If these 10 clubs come in for him in January, Galatasaray must let him leave. That's the clause Osimhen put. I believe maybe you would think about Real Madrid, PSG. I think PSG must be a part of it. And I believe that Chelsea will not be a part of that club because Chelsea was seriously cheap. If that clause is activated, he will have the same salary, but the release clause will be cut from 130 million euros to 80 million euros. That's the deal Osimhen put down. That's one thing Osimhen insisted, that there were particular 10 clubs. If they come for him in January, Gala must release him. And that Napoli must release him. And it will be for the same salary, no compromise. And the salary means that at 11 million euros, that's about 219,000 euros a week. That's not bad for a young man. And then the buyout clause has now gone down from 130 to 80 million euros. That's what Osimhen insisted must be in the clause. So who lost? Napoli. Osimhen won. With a little bit of compromise, but Osimhen won. Which means that other African footballers can actually demand and make this kind of demand. It opens the door for other Africans. And we need to understand that. And for goodness sake, that is how you welcome a superstar. And he is being paid high money. So any club that is going to come in, and I know for a fact that Victor Osimhen is going to bang in a lot of goals. A lot of goals. We'll be talking a lot about Gala. And we'll be talking about the power that Osimhen is bringing to Gala. Check out these things that Gala is celebrating. Come on, man.
I wanna keep this moment on repeat.